have to find solutions. Finance from ABSA, overcoming all obstacles. Go!
Onto the final loop of two very hard and exacting runs in the 2006 Sun City 400, the sixth round of the ABSA Off-Road Championship. And for Alfie Cox, it was all to play for, but at the same time, he had to protect his big lead on the championship log. Conversely for Harkus, it was all or nothing, and he had been eating his stablemate's dust for quite a few Ks. He and Three were going as hard as they could. Herman Silbolt and Hendrik Fourie were going along at pace, and their third position this late in the race was their best showing of the year. Woolridge and Schultheimer were leading the production car class in the Ford Ranger, but they had their rearview mirror watching down to a fine art. Why, you may ask? Well, Clint Gibson and Mike Brown was the absolute bat filling in between the Ford team. And a flying Bevan Bertolt and his navigator Robin Houghton. The Toyota was only too willing to take more of this kind of abuse. Corbett and Goosen were next, leading Class B by a healthy 25-minute margin, one that would continue to grow. But the drama for the Toyota squad continued. Bevan Bertolt and Robin Houghton trying to find the immense and unsettling noise that the undercarriage of the Hilux had been making. Bertolt found out that it was a bent prop shaft. For the proudly South African Nissan Navara team, there was exactly the opposite. As is their want this season, Grobler and Jordan were doing a Copperfield and pulling a rabbit out of the hat. They were storming through from 33rd to 7th and still climbing. Schroeder in the E-Class Ford Ranger had a 27-point lead on the log, thus he wasn't taking any chances, and therefore everyone else had to. In temperatures nearing the 40-degree mark, the off-roaders roared by. The De Bruins and their Toyota were finally into the top 10 and leading Class D. Marsh, still recovering from an appendix up, and Whitehouse, who were defending their Class A championship, scored in all but one event in 06 and were, as always, rock steady. With a few things sounding decidedly loose, Nolan Smallberger kept it tight, leading Class B. But it was by less than 2 seconds, because Johan and Etienne Besaidnert were right on their exhaust pipes. John Moore and Ashley Thorne were in a solid, if not spectacular state. They dropped 6 places and were due a few more because of a broken rear cradle mounting. Gurney and Steinbach had finally overcome their electrical malfunction and had picked up 3 places. They were 4th in the SP class. But not for long, because a flying Mark Grenier and Chris Birkin were on their tails, and they soon went by. Gosler and Carolyn were in command in Class S with more than 30 minutes in the bag ahead of Schilling and Davies. The open flat stretches were a joy, but the heat was causing several cars to overheat. Marius van Vieren and Johan Coetzee Bozel Zarco clearly wasn't one of them. Clark and Stuart Moffat in their Bosel Toyota were second to Schroeder on the log in Class E, and they kept plugging away. While the Kunz were second in Class D. At the front though, Harkus had somehow found a way past his teammate Cox, and now he was carrying all the pressure. The hunter became the hunted. It was classic no team orders, race as hard as you can stuff. Even though they were watching their mirrors for the Red Danger, Woolridge and Schultheimer were giving it their all and had clawed their way back, but the gap was rapidly closing between them and Grobler. The dust had settled ever so slightly due to the bigger time gaps, and for Clint Gibson and Mike Brown, it was just fine as they held station in 4th place. But Grobler was earning his frequent flyer points. He was hauling, and Jordan was calling. Together they got into 5th place overall, all the way up from 33rd, and that took them to 2nd in class. Corbett and Goosen maintained and then kept the pressure on Besaidnout, who had to catch them to win Class B. Mr. Steady himself, Manfred Schroeder, piloted the Ford Ranger to a superb 7th place and a class victory with exceptionally solid driving. While Berthold's Toyota punctured, and they lost valuable minutes in exchanging the offending rubber. Naim Mosaji and Rayon Bodjana drove through to their first finish of the season, only to be DQ'd for unsportsmanlike driving. They bumped into Gilligan, which put paid to his race. Grenier and Birkin helped to keep Toyota in the lead in the hunt for the manufacturer's trophy with a solid 15th place after their hour's time penalty. Were it not for it, who knows? Gosler and his co-pilot Carolyn won Class S with a handsome margin at the finish line. At that very line, though, there was great joy for the Motorite squad. As Harkus and Trathui brought it home for their second victory of the season and the Motorite team's second 1-2 in 2006.
Well done.
Brent, where's Elfie?
Cox had to settle for second, exactly 4 minutes in arrears. A fine drive considering his points lead at the top of the championship log for the special vehicles. For Harkus, the sweet, sweet taste of victory and motor racing's age-old celebration.
Points are there, man. Yeah, awesome win for Motorite team. Another 1-2. To have it overall, anyway, that champagne's unbelievable feeling. I said that I had to pull out all the stops the last lap, and that's what I did. I mean, they were probably the biggest race in my life with Alfie, getting blasted with rocks for 5 kilometers, and I just hung in there. And eventually, you know, I think Alfie was wise enough to realize that, you know, this could end in tears. And, you know, obviously he's got a lot more points than me in the championship, so I think that's what happened. But, you know, once I got past, I really had to keep that hammer down. And Alfie also had another flat wheel, and then I knew he had a flat wheel, and I also had a flat wheel, so it was cat and mouse to see who was going to stop first and change the wheel. So the pressure was 199 kilometers flat out. What a result. Awesome for Motorite. You know, all our sponsors are here this weekend, and great venue, Sun City, and what a race. I can't say anymore.
Ford camp were yodeling because Woolridge and Schultheimer brought it home for a fine win in the production vehicle category. It was their second of the season after winning the Sugarbelt race as well. And for them it meant creeping ever so slightly closer to the championship leader Grobler. The bubbly was going and the flags were flying, and Neil knew that this was a special performance.
Fantastic, eh? It's been long overdue. You know, we've had a good year, and to win Sun City is even greater. We had a bit of a tough ride early this morning. I think we misjudged the weight of the car. You know, with full tanks and 3 spare wheels, we had 2 punches within 15 kilometers of the start, so that really put us on the back foot a little bit. So, but we changed them and we set into a rhythm and slowly got past the Nissan again, and from then it's just been pretty plain sailing. I just looked after it. We knew we had a huge lead, so there was no point in performing any heroics near the end. So we just kept it home and brought it home.
And within actual sight of the finish line, the Nissan steering arm broke, and with the wheels facing all 4 corners of the globe, Grobler and Jordan took second, and that was enough to keep them at the head of affairs, but they had closed the gap significantly. Corbett and Goosen took the win in Class B and gave the Century Property Development crew something to smile about.
Yeah, we had a good run. The route was well marked. It was very, very rough, a lot rougher than the route was. We had no mechanical problems, thank goodness. Ernest drove very nicely. We didn't get lost, and overall a very good event. Pretty to see no more bees behind us.
Schroeder finished third, and that gave him his 4th win of the season, an amazingly consistent performer.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, Neil won first overall, then we came a third overall, and first in Class E. Yeah, no, all very happy here.
Conditions out there rather tough.
In places, you know, like our strategy was to take it easy over those very rough sections and then go as fast as we could over the better sections, and I think that seemed to have worked.
A 13-minute victory for the Ford Duo, with Grobler and Jordan again producing an astounding come-from-behind effort. Berthold and Houghton were third in the SP class and 4th in the production class. As for the special vehicles, there was only 3.5 minutes in it, as Harkus and Thrui secured a fine win at the Pilanesberg Gaming Resort. Motorites 1-2 is a tribute to a fine team. In the championship race, the Nissan pairing's lead shrunk to just 8 points, and it's going to come down to the wire. While Cox extended his lead over his teammate Harkus to 15 points, but one did not finish could change all of that. Until next time, you keep it on the road, we'll keep it off-road.